حي على
الحمدللہ رب العالمین والصلاة والسلام علی سید الانبیاء والمرسلین اما بعد فاعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم والصلاة والسلام علیک یا رسول اللہ وعلی آلک واصحابک یا حبیب اللہ۔ ہمارے میم ٹی وی کے دیکھنے والے تمام معزز ناظرین کو السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ۔ امید ہے کہ سب دوست اور مائیں بہنیں دیکھنے والے میم ٹی وی کو خیریت سے ہوں گے، یا اگر کوئی مشکلات زندگی میں ہے تو ہم توقع کرتے ہیں اللہ تعالیٰ کی بارگاہ سے جو غفور الرحیم ہے ہمارے معاملات میں ہمیں آسانی عطا فرمائے۔ معزز ناظرین، آج ہم ایک درد لے کر آپ کی خدمت میں حاضر ہوئے ہیں جو دیمک کی طرح ہمارے نوجوان نسل کو خراب کر رہا ہے، اور اس کے چند پہلوؤں پر ہم آپ کی خدمت میں بات کریں گے کہ اس سے بچنے کے لیے ہمیں اپنا رول پلے کرنا ہے، اور انشاءاللہ تبارک و تعالیٰ اپنی اولادوں کو، جو ہماری ینگ جنریشن ہے باہر کے، چاہے ویسٹرن کنٹریز میں ہے چاہے ایسٹ کنٹریز آف دا ورلڈ میں ہے، ان کے بچانے کا کچھ نہ کچھ سلسلہ ہم لوگ کر سکیں۔ ہم اپنی گفتگو کا آغاز کرتے ہوئے انشاءاللہ تبارک و تعالیٰ برکت کے حصول کے لیے نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی خدمت اقدس میں درود بھیجیں گے، اور پھر میں ایک واقعہ آپ کی خدمت پہ پیش کر کے انشاءاللہ تبارک و تعالیٰ ایک بہت ہی معزز ہمارے عالم دین ان کی خدمت میں ہم چلیں گے، اور ان کی خدمت میں جا کے جانیں گے کہ ہم کہاں پر کھڑے ہیں اور ہمیں کیا لایا عمل اختیار کرنا چاہیے۔ نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم پر درود پاک بھیجنے کے بے شمار برکات ہیں، اور ان کو صرف الفاظ کی حد تک مت سمجھا کریں، ان کو اس حد میں جا کے دیکھیں کہ کیونکہ یہ رسول پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے فرمایا، اس طرف توجہ بہت ضروری تھی، میرے نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے کروا دی ہے، تو یہ ضرور ہمارے مسائل کا حل بنے گا۔ دنیا میں بھی مسائل ہوتے ہیں اور آخرت تو بہت ہی مسائل والی ہے، تو یہ آپ ذہن میں رکھیں کہ رسول پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے ارشاد فرمایا کہ جو شخص مجھ پر دن میں 10 مرتبہ یعنی صبح اور 10 مرتبہ شام درود پاک پڑھے گا، قیامت کے دن اس کو میری شفاعت پہنچ جائے گی۔ تو اس کا مطلب ہے کہ وہ رسول پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کے دامن اقدس سے سونر اور لیٹر جا کے جڑ ضرور جائے گا۔ تو کوشش کریں کہ یہ زبان رسول اقدس صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم پر درود پاک پڑھتے ہوئے اپنا ٹائم یہاں پہ دنیا میں گزاریں۔ بغداد میں یا بصرہ میں ایک بزرگ ہوتے تھے، مسکی ان کا نام تھا۔ یہ مسکی جو ہے نا، یہ لفظ ہے خوشبو سے۔ ان کی کوالٹی یہ تھی کہ جہاں سے وہ گزر جایا کرتے تھے خوشبو ہی خوشبو آ جایا کرتی تھی، یعنی وہ کبھی کوئی پرفیوم یوز نہیں کرتے تھے، کسی قسم کی فریگرنس کا استعمال نہیں کرتے تھے، پر ان کا کمال یہی تھا کہ جہاں جاتے تھے خوشبو آتی تھی۔ نوجوان کچھ لڑکے تھے، انہوں نے ایک دن بٹھا لیا، کہنے لگے بابا جی آج راز کھولنا پڑے گا، آپ کسی دکان پہ پرفیوم لینے نہیں جاتے، کوئی عطر یوز نہیں کرتے، یہ کیا ہے؟ تو بچوں کی اصرار پہ، ضد پہ نا، انہوں نے پھر راز کھولا، کہنے لگے آؤ بچوں پھر میں بتاتا ہوں کیا وجہ ہے۔ میں کہتے ایک غریب گھرانے میں پیدا ہوا تھا، باپ میرا بس ایک ایوریج آدمی تھا، ماں میری بھی ایک ایوریج عورت تھی، تو مجھے وہ کہا کرتے تھے بیٹا اللہ نے تجھے خوبصورتی بہت عطا فرمائی ہے، میک شور کرنا کہ اس خوبصورتی کی تو حفاظت کرے۔ وہ حفاظت کیسے کرنی ہے کہ یہ گرل فرینڈ، بوائے فرینڈ یا کوئی بھی انلیگل ریلیشن شپ جو ہے نا، اس میں تو نے اپنی زندگی کو نہیں ڈالنا۔ کہنے لگے وقت کا تھوڑا سا، دنوں کا جب بدلنا ہونا شروع ہوا، مجھے ایک دکان پہ کپڑے کی بٹھا دیا گیا، میں وہاں پہ سیلز مین کا کام کرنا شروع ہو گیا۔ اب وہ سیلز مین کا کام کرتے کرتے وقت کا جو بادشاہ تھا اس کی بیٹی ہماری دکان پہ آئی، اور اس کا میرے اوپر دل آ گیا۔ اب مجھے بالکل بھی پتہ نہیں تھا، اس نے ایک کپڑا نکلوا، دوسرا کپڑا نکلوا، تیسرا کپڑا نکلوا، کچھ سوچ کے وہاں سے وہ چلی گئی۔ بعد میں اس نے کچھ عورتوں کو وہاں پہ بھیجا ہماری دکان پہ، عورتیں ہماری دکان پہ آئیں، کہنے لگیں یہ والا کپڑا، یہ والا کپڑا، یہ والا کپڑا یہ ہمیں دو، اور ساتھ ایک بندہ بھی بھیجو، یوں کرو اس کو بھیج دو۔ وہ اس کو کس کو؟ وہ میں ہی تھا۔ مجھے وہ اپنے ساتھ لے کے کپڑے سمیت اپنے بادشاہ کے گھر چلی گئیں۔ جب وہاں پہنچی تو ایک کمرے میں گھسا، اس کا دروازہ بند، دوسرا کمرہ آ گیا، دوسرے میں گھسا، اس کا دروازہ کم، 7ویں کمرے میں جب میں پہنچا تو 7ویں کمرے کا دروازہ بند کر کے آگے شہزادی بیٹھی ہوئی تھی، پرنسس آف دا ٹائم۔ کہنے لگی کپڑوں کے لیے تجھے کوئی نہیں بلایا، تیرے اوپر دل آ گیا تیرے ساتھ منہ کالا کرنا، یو ہیو ٹو سلیپ ود می ٹونائٹ۔ تو کہتے ہیں میں بڑا پریشان ہوا کہ یہ میں کہاں پھنس گیا ہوں، اور ماں باپ نے مجھے یہی سمجھایا تھا کہ میں نے اپنی عزت کی حفاظت کرنی ہے۔ تو کہنے لگے کہ مجھے اس وقت تو کچھ بھی نہیں سوجا، ایک میرے ذہن کے اندر فارمولہ آیا اس دور کے اندر نا، جو ہم واش روم وغیرہ آج جاتے ہیں، یہ واش روم کے اندر ایک کنٹینر پڑا ہوتا تھا جس کے اندر ہیومن ویسٹ جو ہے اس کو گیدر کیا جاتا تھا اور بعد میں اس کو تھرو اوے کرتے تھے۔ کہتے ہیں میں باتھ روم میں گیا، جا کے میں نے اپنے منہ کے اوپر جسم پہ ساری کی ساری ویسٹ جو ہے مل لی، انسان کے جسم سے جو ویسٹ نکلتی ہے مل کے میں باہر آیا تو مجھے گالی گلوچ کرنے لگے سارے کہ تو پاگل ہے، تجھے تو ہوش ہی نہیں، تو کیا کر کے اتنا گندا ہے، تو مجھے دھکے مار کے انہوں نے باہر نکال دیا۔ جب میں گھر آیا، گھر آ کے میں نہانا دھونا سارا کیا، اپنی ماں کو روتے روتے سارا واقعہ سنایا، رات کو سو گیا، ماں نے بڑی دعائیں دی، کہا تو نے اپنی عزت کی حفاظت کی۔ کہتی رات کو جب میں سویا نا تو میرے اوپر مہربانی ہوئی، کئی جگہوں پہ یہ بتایا جاتا ہے کہ حضرت یوسف علیہ السلام خواب میں تشریف لائے، اور کئی جگہوں پہ کہا جاتا ہے جبریل امین تشریف لائے۔ حضرت یوسف علیہ السلام خواب میں تشریف لا کے کہنے لگے کہ اٹھ کھڑا ہو، میرے سینے سے لگ، تو نے نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کا امتی ہو کے وہ کام کیا جو میں نے اللہ کا نبی یوسف ہو کے کیا تھا۔ کہتے ہیں انہوں نے مجھے جسم سے اپنے لگایا، اس وقت سے وہ خواب جب سے میں نے دیکھی ہے، نیچرلی میرے جسم سے خوشبو آتی ہے، اور یہ خوشبو کبھی جاتی نہیں۔ یہ واقعہ جب سنایا نا بچوں کو تو یقیناً ان کو بھی بڑی انکریجمنٹ حاصل ہوئی ہوگی کہ ہم نے بھی اپنی عزت کی حفاظت کرنی ہے۔ اب ہم اپنے تناظر میں آ کے دیکھیں، میں بھی دیکھوں، جو پروگرام دیکھ رہے ہیں وہ بھی دیکھیں، جو پیرنٹس ہیں اس وقت وہ اپنے خیالات پہ غور کریں کہ ہم دن میں کیا سوچتے ہیں، ہم سارا دن موبائل فون پہ کیا دیکھتے ہیں۔ یہ موبائل فون ہر وقت تو ہاتھ میں ہے، کوئی ٹک ٹاک پہ لگا ہوا ہے، کوئی واٹس ایپ پہ لگا ہوا ہے، جو بھی چیز آ رہی ہے آپ فیس بک پہ، میڈیا کے ذریعے، سوشل میڈیا کے ذریعے کچھ نہ کچھ دن میں دیکھ رہے ہیں۔ وہ جو دیکھ رہے ہیں اس کا کچھ امپریشن بھی آپ کے مائنڈ پہ اکٹھا ہو رہا ہے، اور جو امپریشن اکٹھا ہو رہا ہے وہ آگے کیا ڈیلیور کر رہا ہے، آپ اپنی اولادوں کو کیا دے رہے ہیں، یہ بہت ضروری ہے، کیونکہ ہمارے پاس جو زندگی کا لمیٹڈ ٹائم ہے، اس ٹائم کو ہم نے اپنی آخرت کو بھی اکٹھا کرنے کے لیے گزارنا ہے۔ ہم کیا کرتے ہیں، ہمیں قرآن مجید نے حکم دیا ہے فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ، اگر تمہیں کسی بات کا پتہ نہیں ہے نا تو تم نے اس سے جا کے پتہ کرنی ہے جو اس کے بارے میں جانتا ہے۔ تو ہمیں قرآن نے علماء کا رستہ دکھایا ہے۔ ہمارے نزدیک کوئی نہ کوئی دن آتا ہے، جیسے کرسمس آ گئی، جو ڈس بلیورز کے تہوار ہیں وہ آتے ہیں، کوئی ہولی آ گئی، دیوالی آ گئی، ابھی بھی ایک تہوار ہمارے نزدیک آ رہا ہے ویلنٹائن ڈے کا۔ میں یہ چاہتا ہوں کہ اس تہوار کو جس طریقے سے ہماری ینگ جنریشن کے اندر ڈالا جا رہا ہے، خاص کر مسلمانوں کی ینگ جنریشن میں، ہم علماء سے اس پہ رائے لیں کہ ہمارا کیا لائحہ عمل ہونا چاہیے۔ میں ہمارے بہت ہی معزز عالم دین ہیں، میں ان کو ویلکم کرتا ہوں پروگرام کے اندر۔ السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ حضور۔ حضور
وعلیکم السلام ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ۔
کیسے ہیں آپ؟ مجھے امید ہے آپ میری آواز سن پا رہے ہیں۔
جی الحمدللہ رب العالمین علی کل حال۔ آپ کیسے ہیں جنید بھائی؟
ماشاء اللہ آواز آ رہی ہے۔ علامہ صاحب میں آپ کا بہت زیادہ وقت نہیں ضائع کروں گا، ہمارے معزز دیکھنے والے بھی ظاہری بات ہے اپنی زندگیوں میں مصروف ہیں۔ میں یہ چاہوں گا کہ تھوڑا سا آپ ہسٹری کے اوپر نظر اگر ڈال دیں کہ یہ کیا ہے تہوار جو ہمارے ارد گرد آ رہا ہے، تو چند سوالات اس کے حوالے سے ہم آپ کی خدمت میں کر کے رہنمائی حاصل کر لیں۔
الحمدللہ رب العالمین والصلاة والسلام علی سید المرسلین، اما بعد فاعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم، بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم، والصلاة والسلام علیک یا رسول اللہ وعلی آلک واصحابک یا حبیب اللہ، الصلاة والسلام علیک یا نبی اللہ وعلی آلک واصحابک یا نور اللہ۔ Junaid bhai, mashallah, I really liked the way you described the story of the Sheikh Mushti, that he
رحمت اللہ
smelled nice, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. He smelled nice naturally, and because he safeguarded his respect, his honor, his prestige. And just like you asked, what is the day that's coming around, which commonly is known as Valentine's Day. The history behind this is, you must have heard, and I'm sure the respected viewers must have heard this legend that is going on, that we hear that there was a saint, his name was Valentine. Christians considered him a saint, and Valentine or Valentino, many different versions of the story, that he lived during the Roman Emperor Claudius II, and Claudius II had banned marriages. He had outlawed the marriages. The Christian people in that time were not allowed to get married. So this guy, Valentine, he used to secretly get people married. And then, the king found out, and then he sent him to jail. And in the jail, this guy, Valentine, he fell in love with the daughter of the jailer or the daughter of the judge. And then, he fell in love with her. And then, before dying, Valentine wrote a love letter and he said, "From your Valentine." So that signifies, this. And then he was beheaded, he was executed on February the 14th. Okay, this is the legend that we must have heard in, throughout our lifetimes. But today I will tell you the real history of this love day or Valentine's Day that many people might not know. And these are all facts. And, this information that I'm about to give, this is not from, some, weak books or some legends. This is real history. You can go on history.com and, verify whatever I'm saying. The thing is that the Roman Empire, okay, they used to celebrate this festival in the middle of February, okay, February 13th to February 15th. This was their time to celebrate a festival. They called it Lupercalia. Lupercalia, L-U-P-E-R, Lupercalia, C-A-L-I-A, Lupercalia. Okay, they celebrated this in the middle of February. Now, the Roman, they were not Christians before, right? They were pagans, as they called it. Pagans are those polytheists. In our religion, we call them mushrikun, okay, the idol worshippers. These people were even worse than idol worshippers. They worshipped imaginary creatures, okay, which we call mythology, Roman mythology, Greek mythology. So these people, they worship, fictional characters. So these were called pagans. Now, pagans, what they did was they celebrated this festival in the middle of February. What they did was, this is really shameful, that the men of that society, they took off all of their clothes. They went into the jungle and they slaughtered a dog and a goat. Okay, a few dogs and few goats. And, they used to come back with the skins of those animals, those slaughtered animals, and they used to hit any woman they saw. Okay, and they had this aqidah, they had this belief that when we hit a woman with this is going to increase the fertility of the society if a woman gets hit by this hide, of the animal hide. And then later on, what happened was there was like a lottery system, okay, a matchmaking lottery. The guys, they used to get ballots with the names of the girls, and then those two people, they got matched up, and they stayed together. They did zina, ma'azallah, until the end of the festival. This festival was considered an act of worship in the Roman society. Okay. Now what happened was, again, obviously this was against Christian beliefs as well. Christians, they have their differences with the pagans, because paganism is like a polytheistic religion, and Christians, they claim that, oh, we're monotheists and whatnot. So the Christians, they didn't like this idea either. So what happened was, this thing was really common in the society. This was, widespread, that people were celebrating Lupercalia. So what happened was that, when the Christian people got into power, they were like, if we end this once and for all, it's gonna, enforce, it's gonna provoke the people to start like a protest, or it's gonna outburst. They're gonna, react. So instead of killing off the entire festival, what they did was they're like, okay, we're gonna ban this Lupercalia, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna celebrate this exact day, the middle of February, which is 14th, as the day to remember their saint, Valentine or Valentino. So the king, this, if you look at the history, and again, as I said, this is all from, you can Google this, that Valentine's Day versus Lupercalia. You will see that these two things, they're almost the same. Think about this. If you look at the history, go back in the history, look at the Roman kings. Okay, it was not unusual for a Roman king to kill off a priest. Okay, because the Claudius II, when he killed this Valentine guy, what was the big deal? Right? Why are people, going so crazy over February the 14th that, okay, Valentine died? It's not a big deal. The kings used to kill people like this all the time. Why was this so important? Because, the Christians now had a similar day of their own, as opposed to the paganism. The Lupercalia was for pagans, and this Valentine's Day, they just made up this day as a holy day. Why? Because they wanted to, compete with the paganism. They wanted to stop that practice. That is why they started their own, a day of their own with the same concept. And you can see similar stuff happens. In Lupercalia, people were doing zina. They were, picking up ballots and then doing zina. In Valentine's Day, similar thing happens. People are doing zina, maazallah, non-mahram people, the people who are not related, right? The opposite gender. They meet, they give gifts to each other. All of these things happen in today's day. So you can see the similarity between that. So that was a little bit of history that I talked about regarding Valentine's Day.
My understanding is that whatsoever you're explaining, people can check from the internet if they wanted to. To shift the focus, I wanted to say that because we are sitting as a Muslims here, so our young generation is listening to the program. We know that it's a sad reality that our own young generation in the Western countries, they walk hand in hand in the universities, colleges, sleeping around, and before marriages, or even some of them, they probably think because they live in the Western world, marriage has nothing to do with their life because it's only the geography of the world where they live in. They have to adopt according to what happens in their local culture. Now, the thing is, of course, they walk in pubs as well, they go to drink and all that. My question is that because one of those brothers and one of those sisters might be hearing us through this program, what's wrong with this? Like, what's wrong? Islam, does it stop you to do that? Or Islam gives you any barrier in the middle? Or is there any benefit to it? Or is there no clash to it? What we are talking about today? We know that this is what the history is, but why we are talking about this? Because we are Muslims. What's the benefit? How is the benefit going to reach me if I stop or if I don't stop?
Yes, mashallah, that's a really good question. Um, we know that, in Islam, the motivation, there is a lot of, encouragement of nikah, of getting married legally, lawfully. Okay, Islam has encouraged this behavior. You can see other religions out there in the world. For example, like in Hinduism, if you don't get married, that is something that's praiseworthy. But in Islam, if someone doesn't get married, Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam has said that nikah is my sunnat. Whoever goes away from my sunnat is not from me. Okay, so this hadith, this proves that nikah is such a thing that is encouraged in the deen. Okay, and whoever goes away from it, Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam has said we are not related. Okay, so you can see that Islam has given you a way. Okay, obviously, this is a system of the world that to get married, to increase the population. This is something that everybody needs. This is understandable, but Islam has given us a proper way to do it. Okay, there's obviously every good society, if you think about it, has a set of rules. Okay, and Islamic society, our rule, our Shariat, you can see the rules that we have, they're for our own protection. Okay, anytime we see, for example, like since we're on the topic of Valentine's Day, you can see that people might ask you this, like you're asking the question that okay, zina being so common, and people in the Western countries, they're going to bars and they're touching the opposite gender. You should know, everybody who's watching, that there is a hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that it is better for a man to be struck with an iron nail rather than touching a woman who is not halal for him. Okay, it is better to be struck with an iron nail. Okay, iron nail. Think about it. This is better. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying. So this is all in our books. This is all in our Quran, in our hadith. You will see these kind of things that Islam has promoted nikah. Why? Because we are discouraged. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, "La taqrabu zina." They do not even go close to zina. Okay, doing it is a faraway thought. Don't even go close to it. What does it mean? Don't even do those things that are going to provoke you, that are gonna basically entice you to go and fall into this ditch, into this hole. So don't even go near those places. Okay, and since we're talking about Valentine's Day, people might ask this question: that what is the problem that for example, okay, let's say like we just talked about getting married and nikah, and nikah is jaiz, and in Islam it is a good practice to show love to your family, to your spouse, to your mother, to your sister, to your brothers, all of these things. So people ask this all the time, that okay, what is the problem? What if I, as a Muslim, I want to show love to my wife, and the wife will say, okay, I want to show love to my husband. Everybody's showing love to their spouse. Why not we do it in a halal way? What's the problem? Because nikah is halal, and then they're talking, it's not mahram anymore. What is the problem? Okay, in order to answer this, I will give you a logical example. Think about this. In our society that we live in, okay, the lawmakers have this concept of a gateway crime. Okay, gateway crime. What is a gateway crime? Gateway crime is something that is not that bad by itself. It seems insignificant, but what happens is this crime itself is going to lead you to a bigger crime. It's going to cause a bigger trouble. Okay, as an example, take speeding, for example, right? Speeding in North American countries, speeding, going above the speed limit is a punishable crime. It's an offense, right? If the cops catch you, they can penalize you for this. Now, for example, someone can say, okay, I'm speeding. I've never gotten in an accident. I'm a safe driver. I can speed, in control. It is my car. It is my body. I can step on the accelerator as much as I like. My taxes pay for these roads. My taxes pay the salary of the police. So I should be allowed to speed as much as I want. Okay, people can say this, but is that how it works?
No.
That's not how it works. Although, yes, you have a point that, yeah, it's your body, it's your car. If you get hurt, it's your life. Nobody should care about this. But, right, the government, they care about this, because although there's a slight chance that, someone might, lose focus and run over some person or hit a car or get into an accident, it's dangerous. Okay, and if you look in the history, if you look at the statistics, that how many people actually get injured by speeding, you will not find many people. Okay, the majority of the people who speed, they don't even get injured. They're safe. And don't get me wrong, I'm not encouraging, reckless driving. We all should be safe. We should drive safely and, protect ourselves and the fellow drivers. But my point is that you cannot go to court and say, okay, we should outlaw this, speeding rule. That, okay, nobody dies out of speeding. Then why is this even a law? Why is the police gonna penalize me for speeding? This is nonsense. Can someone go to court and say this? No. Why? Because this is a gateway crime, as we say, gateway offense. That you speed, and as a result, speeding is not bad by itself. Why is it bad? Because it's gonna cause some danger. So same thing, Valentine's Day, okay, if you want to give a gift to your maharim, to your mother, to your wife, to your sister, okay, yeah, this is fine. But isn't there a chance that when a husband, he gives gifts to his wife, celebrates Valentine's Day, do you not think that it could potentially provoke him, okay, to give gifts to someone who he's not related to? Okay, obviously you will say that, okay, these chances are rare. This doesn't happen usually. Then I will say the same thing, that, people dying because of speeding, this doesn't happen usually as well. This doesn't happen usually, but still it is an offense. Why? Because it can potentially lead to injuries or death. The same thing over here. Although, this thing seems insignificant, that, okay, on February the 14th, I'm giving gifts to my mother or my wife or something, but this can potentially entice you, this can provoke you to do something that is haram. Why? Because Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, Hadith in Sunan Nabi Dawood, that man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum, that whoever copies a nation, then he is from him. Okay, and out of this, copying culture that we need to copy the Western world, you can see where our qawm, our nation, our Muslim brothers and sisters, where have they drifted because of their copying this.
Okay, Allama Sahab, mashallah, very well explained. And at the same time, because young generation is on the TVs watching this program, my question is that the ground reality is, when parents or somebody who is in leadership role in the homes, they talk about these topics, the kids are usually quiet. And by the time they engage with the environment, maybe school or the social media or the circle they are into, which is hidden from the parents, by the way, if I'm wrong, they don't care about these things. So Islam is only about parents to the kids, or is it something that we must keep in mind, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is continuously placed a system to monitor you, that's recording you, and one day you have to be answerable, and no matter what you have to say, but you do something wrong and don't do tawbah on it, you'll be liable for punishment tomorrow. So, and you cannot escape. The funny thing is, you probably think you would escape, you would not escape. What would you say that in the homes, what should be the lahya amal, what should be the action that actually goes into the heart of the young generation, especially in the parents as well? We don't say that parents are simply going on the track of the Islam completely, because sometimes it's the negligence from the parents that doesn't transfer anything to the kids, and they don't understand, they know how the world works the way they see right now. So what would you say on that?
Yes, for this, I would request all the parents that are watching that please, please, please look after your kids. Okay, this is such a time where parents need to befriend their kids. They need to become friends. They need to talk to the kids. They need to spend time with the kids. I've seen parents, what they do usually, they say, okay, yeah, my son, he goes to the Jummah namaz, he listens to Jummah khutbah, he goes to Sunday school, he goes to the afternoon madrasa. This is enough. Okay, if you break it down and calculate this, this is only 10 hours of the week. Okay, 1 hour for madrasa each day, for example, or 2 hours for madrasa, 2 hours for Sunday school, 45 minutes from the Jummah khutbah. Okay, how much is a kid going to learn? There are 168 hours in the week. Okay, and you have dedicated only 10 of those 168 hours for Islam what is your kid doing for the other 150 hours of the week? Okay, this is something that all of us need to think about. Okay, this is a time where obviously if we don't teach our kids, they're going to learn the stuff from something else. We know, we have heard this before from the psychologists, that a child, when he's born and when he's like, in his beginning stages of his life, he's like a blank sheet of paper. The parents can write whatever they want. Okay, and you can see that, there are some things that are in the core of a human being. Okay, these things don't change the core. Okay, parents are the ones, or the society, or the household. That is those are the people that will install the core inside a person's, being. And over here, that's what parents should have done. But what do they say? They say, okay, the Qari Sahib or the Imam Sahib will take care of him. The Qari Sahib and the Imam Sahib cannot parent the kid for you. Okay, you have to be there. You have to look after your kid. You have to ask him stuff. Okay, and what happens usually, I've seen this. Okay, this is a big problem in today's society. A kid comes up to the parent and asks a question, okay, about Islam or about, the general logic or any atheist type question that he heard from the school or he watched on the TV. He comes and asks the parents. The parents have no idea whatsoever how to answer the kid. Okay, why? Because they don't have knowledge. Okay, this is a big barrier. This is a big, what we call as generation gap, that parents are not ready. Okay, they don't want to be ready to train the kid. Okay, so for this, obviously, as you said, Brother Junaid, that parents are leaders. Okay, and a leader has to be, multiple steps ahead of his followers. You know that the people say, the experts, they say that if the leader is running, okay, then the followers will start to walk. If the leader starts to walk, the followers will not walk, they will stop. And if the leader stops, the followers will go to sleep. They won't care about anything. Okay, because the leader, he has to be a role model. He has to show that, look, I'm running, the least you can do is walk. Okay, but if the leader is stopped, then what can you expect from the followers? Obviously, they're going to sleep. And that is what's happening. Our parents have stopped. Okay, they're stagnant. They're not moving forward. They're not doing any progress, neither in the logical field nor in the Islamic field. Okay, the parents don't know what their kids are doing. The parents don't know what the kids are learning. The kids nowadays, they think our parents are stupid. Okay, this is such a big issue over here. I've talked to the youth. They I can tell you, last week, a boy, 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy, he called me and he said, can you explain this issue to my parents? They don't understand how the online schooling works. They think that I have to be in front of the camera all the time because they're not understanding. They think I'm not going to class. They don't understand anything I say. He was complaining to me that our parents don't understand anything. Okay, think about this. How drastic, how destructive this is for our society. That the children nowadays, obviously this guy, he's going to say the same thing to his friend. And the friend is going to get an idea that, okay, yeah, parents are actually, they don't know better. They don't know how American society or the Canadian society works. They don't know how the Western country works. My parents don't even know English. I've heard this so many times. Okay, so this is something that parents have to work on as well. Okay, and obviously this is a two-way street. The children, obviously, they need to be more respectful as well. They need to, believe whatever their parents are saying. They need to, not consider them, naive or, not that intelligent. Obviously, children have their own part to play. But for the parents, I'm saying that the parents need to step up. Okay, get Islamic knowledge, get logical knowledge, know the answers to the question that, your children will ask. The children will ask stuff. This is how it's been going on since the beginning of the world. The kids, they ask questions to their parents. So be ready for that. You have to answer. And especially in a society that we live in right now, the kids have approach to all of the social media, all the TV, internet. They have their friends. Everything is out there. Obviously, they're going to ask questions from you, and you should be ready to answer those questions. How will that happen? As I said, you need to get Islamic knowledge and, step up your game. And, never show your kids that you don't know anything. You should always, show them that, hey, we're 20 steps ahead of you, 100 steps ahead of you. Nowadays, what parents do, they're like, oh, I don't know this, I don't know, I'm not sure what this is. No, don't show them your weakness. Show them that I'm strong. I know better than you. You cannot fool me like that. Okay, that's what parents should do nowadays. And always talk to your kids, ask them questions, ask them how was their day. Don't just send them into the room with an iPad or a phone to play games or to surf the web like that. Give them your time. They want your attention. They don't need a phone. Okay, so this is if we focus on this. Okay, and as I said, the child is a blank piece of paper. He's gonna take in everything you tell them. So I'm sure if the parents tell their minor kids that this Valentine's Day or this is wrong or Christmas is wrong, zina and all these things, if they tell the beliefs, these core things, then I'm sure that the kids will listen. And when it's installed in the core, it's going to be really hard for any, intruder to take these off or confuse those kids.
MashaAllah. Allama Sahab, here I would add, because this program might be played on the day of Valentine Day. And say, for example, we are into the room where parents are sitting teaching their children. Maybe 3 or 4 lines of the benefit and 3 or 4 lines of the disaster. If you can explain, that will help out the parents. And inshallah, tabarak ta'ala, it will save the next generation that we see today. Anything that, think of it, that you are sitting in the room and the parents are guiding the children. What should be the lines?
There's a really famous. Sorry, say it again. Your voice.
So think of it that we are sitting in the room where parents are teaching their children today, and this is the day of Valentine. What should be the words parents giving to their children today? What should be the way of teaching to them today? Maybe 3, 4 lines that benefit the young generation. You understand the mentality, what's the response from the parent and what's the response from the young generation. You understand that, keeping that mentality in mind, in simple words, if they understand, inshallah tabarak will be more than enough for them to at least understand.
I will say just one share in Urdu by Dr. Iqbal, and I think that will be enough for the parents to tell the children. I will translate it as well to give you the general idea. Dr. Iqbal says, "Apni millat par qiyas aqwam-e maghrib se na kar. Apni millat par qiyas aqwam-e maghrib se na kar. Khas hai tarkeeb mein qawm-e Rasool Hashimi." Dr. Iqbal says that do not try to copy the Western nation and follow them. Why? Khas hai tarkeeb mein qawm Rasool Hashimi, the nation of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best messenger, the beloved of Allah. His nation is special. It has a specific purpose. It has a specific framework, a specific system. Khas hai tarkeeb mein qawm Rasool Hashimi, the qawm of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is specific. It is special in their system, in their framework. Okay, this is something that everyone should think about. Okay, whether you're a kid or whether you're an adult. Okay, the parents should think about this. This is a deep thing. Okay, the more you think about it, the more you'll have enlightenment that okay, this is what we're talking about. Okay, for example, okay, you can see this. This is all a plan. This is all a scheme. Okay, anything you look at around you. The media will tell us when to love my mom. The media will tell us when to love my dad. In May, okay, so-and-so week, we're going to celebrate Mother's Day. Hey, you, dear viewer, this is your time. This is your day to go and love your mom. And in July, this is your day, oh viewer, to go and love your dad. In February, this is your day to go love your spouse. Why are people telling us this? Why is the media telling us this? Why are Western nations telling us this? Okay, somebody told me a story that in some village back home in Pakistan, India, there was a village. Somebody told a really intelligent, a really wise old man that, look, this is how these, Britishers, these British people, these Western people, this is how they act. The old wise men say that you really follow those people who don't even know how to do istinja. They don't even know how to use restrooms. And still you are following these people. What is wrong with you? Okay, we have to understand this as well, that what is actually wrong with us, that we are following a trend which media dictates. So my mind is controlled by the media. The media will tell me, okay, in May, wish your mom. In July, wish your dad. In February, wish your spouse. What is all this? We have to understand that this is a $50 billion business only in the North American society. In United States and Canada combined, at least people spend $50 billion. Okay, billion has 9 zeros. Okay, so 50 and 9 zeros after that. You cannot imagine how much money that is. $50 billion just in gifts. Obviously, they're going to promote this stuff to stay in business. Okay, this is a scheme. This is a plan. Now, everyone who's watching, they need to think for themselves. Okay, who are the people that actually care about them? And who are the people who are actually trying to manipulate them? Okay, this is up to them. Obviously, you cannot force anyone. We can just say. So the words that we have mentioned over here, the sayings and the stories and all these things that we have talked about today, this should give them a mindset that the people who care about them, they should obviously listen to them, because that's the same thing to do. And the people who are trying to manipulate them, just forget about them, leave them. And just like Dr. Iqbal says, "Khas hai tarkeeb mein qawm Rasool Hashimi." You are special as Muslims. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he is the best prophet, the best creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. And you are the nation of the best creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why are you following the Maghrib? Why are you following the Western nations? Okay, you have your own identity. You have your own personality. Focus on that, and you will see that this will be better for your life and the hereafter, inshallah.
Inshallah. Very well said, mashallah. Allama sahab, we are very pleased that you gave us time out from your precious timings. Inshallah, tabarak ta'ala, not to go very long with the program, inshallah, with the closing words, I will say some of the facts that we know from our books. Mashallah, Allama sahab, आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने हमें टाइम दिया मीम टीवी को, اور उनकी सारी की सारी बात में से ये बात बिल्कुल क्लियर सामने आती है कि माँ बाप को नॉलेज हासिल करना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, इससे पहले कि पूरी की पूरी नस्ल इन चीज़ों के अंदर घुस जाए, इन दिनों के अंदर घुस जाए, उनको ये बात समझ ही ना आए कि हमारे साथ हो क्या रहा है। माँ बाप अपना रोल प्ले करें, वो आगे बढ़ें, दीन को सीखें, दीन को सीखने में नस्लें भी बचेंगी और ख़ुद के बचाव का भी निज़ाम हो जाएगा। नबी पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की खिदमत अक़दस में एक नौजवान आया था, आके पता है डायरेक्ट उसने क्या सवाल किया, कहने लगा या रसूल अल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, सहाबा कराम बैठे में पास, कहने लगा मुझे ज़िना की इजाज़त दें। अब ये इतनी बड़ी बात है कि डायरेक्टली आके somebody says या रसूल अल्लाह गिव मी परमिशन टू स्लीप अराउंड। नबी पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का बड़ा खूबसूरत तरीक़ाकार, वो ज़ुबान जिसको सब की कुंजी कहें, उसकी नाफिज हुकूमत पे लाखों सलाम। आला हज़रत ने कहा, नबी पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को अल्लाह ताला ने बड़ा खूबसूरत अंदाज़ अता फरमाया। नबी पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया कि तू चंद बातों का जवाब तो दे पहले। कहने लगा कि जी मैं दे देता हूँ जवाब। रसूल पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया जिसकी तू इजाज़त मांग रहा है वो अगर अमल तेरी माँ के साथ कोई करे, बहन के साथ कोई करे, उसकी ना आंखें खुलनी शुरू हुई। And let me put this into the mind of the young generation who's watching today. The girl who is dearer to you today, that you think whether it's legal, illegal in Islamic terms, think about that word. If somebody does the same thing with that girl today, what would you feel? This is what Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam asked this person. If it is your mother, if it is your daughter, if it is your wife, if it is somebody from your family or somebody from your closest relationship, if somebody asks the same permission to do this, what would you do? क्या करेगा उसके साथ? तो कहने लगा हुजूर मैं तो आंखें निकाल दूंगा, ये कर दूंगा, I'll pop the eyes out, chop the head, whatever. नबी पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने ना बड़े खूबसूरत अंदाज में समझाया, फरमाया जिसके साथ तू परमिशन मांग रहा है ना गलत करने की, वो भी किसी की माँ है, किसी की बहन है, किसी की बेटी है, कुछ तो है किसी की। उसके दिल के अंदर ना ये अल्फाज क्योंकि ज़ुबान मुस्तफ़ा से निकले थे सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, इस तरह से दाखिल हुए, कहने लगा हुजूर मेरे से ज़िंदगी में और तो कुछ हो जाएगा लेकिन ये ज़िना का गलत गुनाह मेरे से ज़िंदगी में कभी भी नहीं होगा। रसूल पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की खिदमत में ये बच्चा आया था और आके अपनी इस्लाह कर गया। यार लेकिन सवाल है सीधा सीधा, वो जो माँ बाप इसको सुन रहे हैं बात को, अगर उन्होंने सिर्फ बच्चों के बारे में कहना है कि भी मेरे बच्चे सीधे हो जाएं, बच्चे इस्लामी बन जाएं, तो खुद छुप के उन्होंने टीवी पे और मोबाइलों के ऊपर कुछ भी खोल के देखना है तो उन्होंने खुद जवाब नहीं देना। उनको खुद इस बात की समझ नहीं आती कि अगर मेरे मोबाइल के ऊपर सब कुछ खुला हुआ है, अब मैं खुल के बात तो कर नहीं पा रहा आपकी खिदमत में, आप समझते हैं, आपको पता है फ़ोन पे क्या देखते हैं, मुझे पता है मैं क्या देखता हूँ, तो जो आप देखते हैं मैं उसी के बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ। अगर अच्छा देखते हैं तो सुभान अल्लाह, और अगर कुछ बुरा है तो आप उसके बारे में सोचें, उसके बारे में खुद रिजल्ट निकालें कि सिर्फ इनको नेक करना आपकी ड्यूटी है, खुद भी अपने ऊपर काम करना है। और कुरान ने क्लियरली कहा है कि या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू कू अनफुसकुम व अहलिकुम नारा, ये बात ज़हन में रखो ईमान वालों कि तुमने अपनी जानें भी बचानी है और अपने घर वालों की जानें भी बचानी है जहन्नम से। बाद में ना आके ये रोना कि मैंने तो पता ही नहीं सी लग्या, अल्लाह आई डिडंट नो दिस। नबी पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने बड़ा प्यारा दीन हमें दिया है। इस दीन में कुछ ना कुछ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस तो हमें नजर आती हैं लेकिन उनका फायदा बड़ा जबरदस्त है आखिरत में, बहुत बेहतरीन फायदा। रसूल पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने पनिशमेंट इन लोगों की जो बयान की है ना, यकीन माने इंसान के जिस्म के बाल खड़े हो जाते हैं। रसूल पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरिश्तों के साथ दो के साथ किसी जगह विजिट करने तशरीफ लेके गए, एक हदीस मुबारक का मफहूम है। एक तंदूर देखा, एक तंदूर के अंदर ना कुछ लोग थे तो बड़ी उनकी चीखों की आवाज़ें आई, ओहो स्क्रीमिंग एट द टॉप, बड़ी ज़बरदस्त स्क्रीमिंग की आवाज़ आए। जब वो स्क्रीम करें ना تھوڑی سی اسکریمنگ کم ہو تو اس تندور کے اندر جو آگ تھی نا وہ آگ پھر بڑکائی جائے، ہیٹ کو مزید تیز کیا گیا، فلیم کو مزید تیز کیا، وہ چیخیں مارتے مارتے تندور کے منہ تک آئے، پھر ہیٹ کو کم کر دیا جائے، نیچے گر جائیں اور چیخ رہے ہیں، مرد بھی عورتیں بھی، both men and women, they are screaming inside and there is full fire inside. Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, who are these people, why they are getting this punishment? And this was said that, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these are people from your ummah who committed zina. اس بات کو میرے بھائی اپنے دل کے اوپر لکھ لیں کہ اگر زنا کیا ہے، توبہ نہیں کی اور باز آنے کا ذہن نہیں بن رہا، تو پھر طرح طرح کی پنشمنٹ آئیں گی اور اس وقت پھر بچاؤ کا سامان نہیں بننا. یہ نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے ہمیں وارن کر دیا ہے. اور جن لوگوں نے بچاؤ کا ذہن بنایا، ایک بندہ تھا نا، تفسیر صراط الجنان میں، یہ آخری بات میں انشاءاللہ کر کے اپنا ختم کروں بیان کو، یہ جو قرآن مجید کی آیت ہے نا، وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ، جو اپنے رب کے حضور کھڑا ہونے سے ڈرے گا، یعنی the one who fears to stand before his Lord, اللہ تعالیٰ will give him 2 جنہ، اللہ تعالیٰ will grant him 2 جنہ، 2 gardens will be granted. ایک لڑکا تھا اور بڑا حیا والا تھا. سیدنا فاروق اعظم کے دور میں جب وہ گھر سے باہر نکلتا تھا، جاتا تھا، ایک لڑکی اس کو راستے میں آفر کرتی تھی. اس وقت کوئی انٹرنیٹ اور اس طرح کی چیزیں نہیں تھی ہوتی کہ انڈر دا ٹیبل کنیکشن بنا لیا جائے. اس کے ذہن کے اندر مٹیریل تھا سارا. اس نے حدیث مبارکہ سن رکھی تھی کہ اس طرح ہونے والا ہے، پریشانیاں آئیں گی، بڑا مشکل کے حالات بن جائیں گے. وہ اس لڑکی کے قابو میں نہیں آیا، لیکن ایک دن آ گیا، ایک دن اس کی انٹریکشن اس کے ساتھ ہوئی تو اس کے ذہن میں وہی پھر مٹیریل آیا کہ یہ سزائیں ملیں گی، یہ معاملہ تیرے ساتھ ہوگا. بلکہ پرہیزگاروں کے ساتھ جب کوئی شیطان اس طرح کا عمل کرنے کی کوشش کرتا تو اپنے خدا کے حکم کو یاد کرتے ہیں. کچھ اس طرح کا فرمان اس کے ذہن میں آیا، اللہ کے خوف سے وہیں پہ بے ہوش ہو کے گر گیا. اس بچے کی اوور نائٹ ڈیتھ ہو گئی، اب راتوں رات اس کو دفنایا گیا. فاروق اعظم، سیدنا فاروق اعظم جو نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کے جلیل القدر صحابی ہیں، ان کو پتہ چلا نا جب اگلے دن، تو اس کی قبر پہ تشریف لے کے گئے قبر پہ. حیا کی وجہ سے اس کی موت ہوئی، اللہ تعالیٰ سے خوف کرتے ہوئے اس کی موت ہوئی. وہاں جا کے جب آپ نے آیت مبارکہ پڑھی نا کہ بھئی جو اللہ کے خوف سے ڈرتا ہے، جو اللہ سے ڈرے گا، اللہ تعالیٰ اسے 2 جنتیں عطا فرمائے گا. فرمایا وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ. تو قبر میں سے میرے بھائی وہ پھر بولا، کہنے لگا فاروق اعظم مجھے اللہ نے 2 جنتیں عطا فرمائی ہیں، 2 جنتیں مجھے ملی ہیں. اللہ اکبر. تو میرے بھائی اگر جنتوں میں گھسنا ہے نا، اللہ کے کرم میں جانا ہے، تو یہ پکا ذہن میں رکھ لیں کہ میک مائنڈ، کہ وہ جو بیریئر اسلام نے کریٹ کر دیا نا کہ تم نے اس میں نہیں جانا، تو بس اپنا ذہن بنا لو، نو گرل فرینڈز بوائے فرینڈز فرام ٹوڈے، no illegal relationships that Islam doesn't permit. Whether you live in Western society, whether you live in Eastern society, you are a Muslim. You are ambassador of Islam in these countries. As long as you are walking on the land of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are bound to the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. So think about it if you commit anything wrong. And these days, Valentine or any other day come in and giving you attraction to do these things, it's okay. Only for one day it's okay. No, it's not okay for only one day. Maybe this is your last wrong and you never live on the land of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you never get the chance to do tawbah. And you always be responsible for punishment in the barg of Allah ta'ala. What would you do? And remember that Iman Allah ta'ala gave us. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, by the time a mu'min is committing zina, Iman is lifted from him. Iman is lifted. Iman is like a shirt that you're wearing in your body. And then it's lifted from you by the time you're doing something haram. Make sure you make tawbah in the barg of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay away from anything that comes in the name of Valentine or in any other shape or reaches you tomorrow with different shapes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to adopt the life of Islam, both for young generation and both for our parents as well. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagul mubin. Inshallah, tabarakallah, we'll be back with another program at the Meme TV.
Hayya alal falah.